So I have a little thing to share. Um, Something like 3 years ago, I was hospitalized because I expressed some sort of symptoms of panic. Um, I had smoked a little bit of weed and I just walked around town while expressing myself as hardcore as I could because I was very bored. I was into awakening and all sorts of things like that. I had never actually experienced anything like panic attacks, that word that I like to call nipack. But year after year and time after time, after being in hospital, after receiving that one little nasty addiction again, because I had quit smoking and I wasn't a smoker at all. I was very healthy guy. And so I went to hospital, and I was with deep honoring to all hospital staff and with deep honoring for them to give me this addiction, because this addiction actually allowed me to think through everything that I needed to think through, and I actually got better with this addiction, and I know how to incorporate this addiction in my life. So I was given many pills like cyclodol, like quenzapine, like I don't remember them so clearly because right now I'm pretty much off them. And over time, I developed panic, like deep panic, which made me to grow up a little bit, yes. But also, it made me very weird in many ways. So, after a long time of therapy, where I found that my music instrument and me being connected to creation, being connected to music, really solved everything for me. I struggled with addiction. I struggled with being with people who tended to tended to betray me in many ways. Some sort of close relationships, really close relationships. Some mistakes from my side, obviously, and yeah, over time I got to be with people who didn't betray me so much, and that was purely grace of God. And over time, I had these little things like even starting a mower, having the vibration on me, uh, having to go through all of these like little things, like simple things like meeting a friend or drinking a beer or something like that that brought me huge money. So over time, I went through all of these things. I found that it's really easy to go through that sort of thing of panic and how to solve it. It's by me actually questioning a lot of people who also have had these ideas in their mind that they are full of panic. By questioning them and asking how they solve it, and knowing how I solve it, we came to the conclusion that to solve it, it's pretty easy to solve it when you actually get to work to do some sort of hardcore work. Somebody told me like they start to, I don't know, cut wood in pieces, or I don't know, collect apples or something like that. Well, to some extent, that actually worked for me too. Whenever I went with the panic, I was able to go all the way and in some sort of way solve it. But the biggest thing for me, how to solve it, was music. Basically, if I had these panic episodes, then I would take my guitar, really express myself for like, I don't know, 30 minutes in front of my grandparents, where I felt very awkward, and the panic went away. So that was interesting. Panic went away for a little while, and over time it came back. It came back stronger. I didn't know what to actually do about it when I started to fall in love with a little bit of amphetamines. So I did that, and I took every single little thing that I really, really wanted to ever do, mainly bodily and mainly sexually. All these things, I really, really took those things to extreme. And that, after like, let's say, 5 days of extreme use of amphetamines, I actually solved it. I have no panic anymore. So I think for people who have some sort of friend or some sort of dealer or some sort of place where they can actually get amphetamines, um, and they are experiencing panic episodes, I think it's wonderful, wonderful thing to do, because to me it gave this intimacy and safety when when I got the dose in my hands in a little package, a little plastic package. I really, really felt safe. I felt like I can close this door. I set boundaries to my family over time that this door is closed, and then after this door, you cannot really enter. And I felt like this room where I'm right now, actually, it's very, very safe. That I could basically take off my pants and just, I don't know, wank it off. I could possibly just be who the fuck I want to be in these four walls. And that was very important to me. So after time, after knowing sounds like these, like doing that, watching to lots of porn, with actually being really, really, really not too ignorant, not too, with being really, really not bothered by what other people think about me, by um, expressing my sexuality to the extreme. After 3 solid days of amphetamine use, I totally solved my panic issues. I have not had an even slightest panic moment in my life. Nothing close that you could imagine from taking Xanax, nothing close to what you could imagine to being in some sort of therapy where you talk it out, nothing close to that, just totally, totally panic free. And the biggest question is, can a schizophrenic with amphetamine use become better if he allows himself to go through all and everything that he feels deep, deep, deep down? Because the moment when they got me the first time, it was a little conversation with police that led me to coming home, taking a little candle, and like not smashing it, but breaking it, leaving it there where my father used to live. And why do I say that he used to live? Because he died approximately a year ago. And after doing that, after scratching some surfaces in my kitchen, after hanging out with him in a pretty intimate and weird way, uh, I actually realized that my condition as a tiny, tiny little bit of schizophrenic went there and got there, that I could be in that place where I saw it as a problem and couldn't really breathe, couldn't really live anymore in that used to, like, I don't know, if you're a little bit of schizophrenic, then you're really good at math, you're really good at some sort of symbols, you're really good at explaining things to people, those who are open to hear. So my hypothesis is that if you allow a schizophrenic to take it to the complete extreme, somehow, I don't know how, if you if you allow him to take it to the complete extreme, then the schizophrenic is not going to be that worried anymore, because he will understand that he actually got there, that he was able to fulfill everything that was hidden inside of him. All these talks that they hospitalize schizophrenics and give them all sort of pills just because they take it too far are true, but then nobody allows the schizophrenic to take it that far, to take it to the extreme. And I personally don't really know that many schizophrenics who are into killing and things like that, because they are really, really, really gentle and really, really cautious and really, really. They are like, they're some something like that. They're really, really good people, but they are encouraged to keep it under the hood. They are encouraged to somehow hide it, to somehow act like they don't have it. Whereas this little thing with amphetamines, and me being a little bit paranoid before all sorts of things, using pills that are just megadoses of pills, that sort of pill use that just doesn't allow you to experience awakening anymore. Imagine like 20, I can show you 20. I'll show you. Let's see what I can show you here that is not that personal. Let's see this. And let's say quenzapine. Quenzapine looks like quenzapine, quenzapine looks like this. And the thing is, here 25 milligrams. And I really hope this is quenzapine, because there's, as I heard and as I've noticed, are prescribed to people who are experiencing some sort of inability to sleep. So I was prescribed not 25 milligrams, not 20 milligrams. I was prescribed 200 milligrams. Basically, you give two of those to the horse and it will just sleep away. You can imagine from what sort of thing I have actually gotten out of. It's scary, that sort of pharmaceutical place where they in some way they sometimes don't even consider people getting better, I think, or they think that these people are dangerous to society. And I can describe what I actually did at the moment when the police came to me and insisted some sort of process where it was signalized to a higher instance that I should not continue being the genuinely appropriate, capable, inclusive, and um, functioning part of society. So, so things like that. And the moment when they just catch me, I was just a little bit carried away, because I was dancing on the street at night, something like 11 o'clock. Something like 11 o'clock. Yeah, something like that. And I was in my direction to take it to the extreme. It wasn't pretty. I didn't even look pretty at that moment. But I was in my general way of taking it to extreme. Yes, some things happen. You break a candle, you maybe scratch some surfaces. There was even pretty ugly thing on my thing on my uh, kitchen window, where it wasn't that pretty. There was, I don't know, some sort of, I don't know what I threw there. It wasn't pretty. Maybe it was a little bit aggressive. Maybe I was a little bit, I don't know. But the thing is that schizos should have all the opportunities to take their schizophrenia to the end, to all their interests, to all their mania to take it to the end, because if you take your mania to the end, if you do not, as I like to say, unresistedly, if you take it to the end, the mania will end. You will sort of not be interested in the things that you were chasing before. So, for me, amphetamines, being in a very, very safe container, my room, setting some boundaries, clear boundaries, playing with sounds, like for example, playing with sounds, playing with assertiveness, playing with being really, really clear at what you do, what you sound like, it, what you press, not being this weird, worried guy. And how can you develop that sort of stability? You can basically do that only if you feel intimate in the container, inclined to go move forward, to get exactly what you want. And over couple days, couple 10-hour sessions of watching porn, of really, really getting deep, really, really training all the focus points, really, really understanding, interfering with lots of things. After that sort of thing, I feel totally satisfied, and I feel totally good, and I don't have panic anymore. So I think that schizoid and people who are struggling with some sort of nipack, as I like to say it, are really, really just being fooled way too more than they probably should. There was probably some sort of moment in Schizo's life where he realized that letting people in his mind is a wonderful idea. And he was so allowing and so generous, even practicing yoga and sharing love and sharing stability and sharing flow energy. All these things, all these things together considered, the schizoid learns to allow himself to be fooled. And I don't know why he does it particularly. I don't know how he actually does it, because it's so complicated and so simple. But at the end, when he gets that intimate space after, let's say, let's say 5 years of letting everybody to screw him over, and then saying, sorry, no, I'm gonna be here like I am, exactly in this room, and do what the fuck it is that I'm going to do. And that sort of freedom, that sort of fresh air in his life actually solves the problem. So I think people generally become schizoids when they allow other people to interfere with their work really boldly. So that sort of intimacy that amphetamine can give you, it is going to help you from being free from the states of nipack. Okay, that's kind of cool. After you end that, don't get addicted. Whenever you try something new, whether it's going to be opiates, whether it's going to be Xanax, whether it's going to be amphetamines, just check your research. Always check what sort of dose is going to be the dose that is going to make you absolutely hooked to this substance. And when you are going to do that sort of thing, you're just going to realize that you can use it consciously. And if you use it consciously, you can start to set really good, dignified boundaries again, which for schizoid, it's not so simple to just set them like that, because there is going to be something really deep in his heart that's just not going to satisfy him. And schizoids can be in very, very different sort of places. They can do amazing things, brave, brave, brave things. They can achieve a lot. And they just need some sort of safety. So, if I would be somebody who would deal with a patient who has panic, I would ask him questions and then I would leave him alone. I would go to the cabinet, I would ask him questions, surprise him with something, and then leave him alone for an hour. Then I would come back and then I would ask, what did you come up with? He would say exactly what the thing that I asked him was without my help. That's why sometimes when I work with students with music, when they get some sort of thing that they could work on by themselves, they're basically they're basically left alone by me because I know that people can figure by themselves. And so, few things are important. Allowing Schizo to go all the way with all the things that he wants to do. And basically, I have been in mental hospitals for 3 times. I have seen people with schizophrenia. I have loved people with schizophrenia. And I have realized that these people are never really into too much violence, at least in my region, at least in Latvia. And I have lots of hope and lots of trust in people with these conditions. They sometimes don't even want to worry them with the word conditions, which is absolutely foolish. And I was like bullied too for just being described as my condition is paranoid schizophrenia, and I'm not paranoid at all. So what I would do exactly: create a space, leave them alone, give them amphetamines, supply them with all the possible information channels that they could possibly use, say them be careful, but interfere with the world as much as you want to. Then let's see what they do. Have them have some sort of instrument, have them even a gong, a bell, have them something like "Urgh," so they could actually feel that sort of power in them, which is usually taken away from them with scarcity of some sort of needles, of some sort of electroshocks, or some sort of things that they use in mental hospitals. I would give them that freedom. When that experiment would be gone, which is not experiment, actually a deep, deep, deep therapy, I would see whether the schizoid really, really feels safe. If he feels safe, then I would give them at the beginning little doses of psilocybin. Because psilocybin, if you really allow what is psilocybin and what it's doing, you can sort of just understand that it can allow your brain to hallucinate. By hallucination, you achieve something that I would love to call concrete brain ability to at the same time be connected with reality, but at the same time be in the field of complete confident safety. Of course, you have to do it alone. So, allow the schizo to go through everything, supplying him with intimacy, all the information channels, such as porn, video games, whatever it is that is not going to bore him to death, actually. Allow him to masturbate, allow him to do all these things that he wants to do, then see what works. And when that works, try a little bit of psilocybin, maybe a little bit of lion's mane mushroom, maybe a little bit of niacin, and allow him to trip on 2 grams of psilocybin alone. Like I did it, I just sat, I had this warm, really nice blanket around me. I had sunglasses with the scotch tape here, like how it's called in Latvian. It's called duct tape, yeah, duct tape. Earphones, complete darkness, and I just sat for 4 hours. I had my favorite meal, knowing Terence McKenna, and knowing how his stories and how ambulance people, at least in America, are really informed about people tripping their balls on psilocybin, which is interesting. Being there, having your favorite meal after the trip, just being there through all that whole experience, realizing that resistance is going to just totally ruin it all. And after it all, the schizo, who was paranoid, who was really struggling with all sorts of things, all sorts of social things like taking his credit card and not being able to pay enough. I mean, not being able to take it out of the wallet. Like some schizos are like really weak and they cannot just like all these social interactions, everything can basically be healed with hell of a lot of confidence in sex and hell of a lot of allowance, strong intention before taking psilocybin, and noticing that all they really want in their lives is experience, coming back with experience, being intimate with experience, and feeling safe with the experience. So that basically solves it. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Chris, and I would really like this sort of information to go to somebody who's really caring about people having such conditions. Thank you, and wish you good luck in anything you are up against. Good luck.